Hello and welcome back to Server Sam Studios. This will be the first episode of my character analysis in Pokemon Unite. Okay, so the first character I'll be going through is Lucario. Okay, so basically, if you want to look at what Lucario can do, I have a very brief. Sorry, I have a description, a very long and extensive description of what Lucario is good at. Okay, just go on to this link. I'll provide it in the description on the video below. But yeah, today we'll be talking about the God tier all-rounder Lucario. Okay, how to play with Lucario, how to defeat Lucario, how to defend against Lucario, and why is Lucario so good in Pokemon Unite right now. Okay, so let's start off with what the basic Lucario builds. Okay, so Lucario basically excels because it does not evolve. If you go over to Unite DB, basically you can check out Lucario's stats. It does not actually have any major power spikes, unlike Pokemon like, let's say, Cinderace, Charizard, anything that evolves, right? Lucario basically has no power spikes, which means that it's basically constant throughout the game, which also means that in the early game it's actually very, very good. Okay. Another thing Lucario is good at is stacking. If you put an attack weight on Lucario, it basically bumps his attack stats by a lot, right? And the reason for that, why he's so good or one of the best at stacking, is because of this stat right here. Okay, so this stat right here is basically his scoring stat. Not many Pokemon have the scoring stat of 3 stars. Let's take a look maybe at another Pokemon, right? Let's say Mr. Mime, right? So let's take a look. You see his scoring stat is only 1.5. So basically what this means is it takes longer for a character like Mr. Mime to score than for Lucario to score. So Lucario basically has a very fast scoring speed. Whenever you press the score button on when you're at a goal, if you score 1 or 2 balls, even if you have someone attacking you, you can still survive and manage to score the goal. I think. Okay, so there are many scenarios where you can do that, and this gives him basically the advantage to stack his attack weight. Okay, so over the previous patches of Pokemon Unite, there have been many nerfs to Lucario, basically nerfing his extreme speed, nerfing his close combat, nerfing his power up punch. The only move that hasn't been nerfed, I think, is the Bone Rush, but it does. Okay, Bone Rush has very little effect on your opponents, but more effect on Lucario itself, so I don't think it needs a nerf. But let's take a look at some of the description of the moves. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about his Lucario's basic. Lucario basically has 3 basic attacks, right? The first attack is a punch, the second attack is a shove, and the third one is where he throws out a bone and he throws you into the air. Now, this basic attack does not really come into play as often when you're at a higher level, meaning that when you're, let's say, level 1 to about level 5, you use more of your basics because you don't have your combos, you don't have your extreme speed, you don't have the power punch, so you rely more on basics. However, when you reach a higher level, let's say level 5, level 6, level 7, you start to get your first attack, your first move set, then you rely less on your basic and you rely more on your combos. Okay, I'll talk more about that when we go on to the moves. Let's talk about the abilities. Okay, so the ability of Lucario is very, very simple. It helps him play his stacking game. Okay, whenever Lucario is at his low HP, and this occurs every 1 minute. So basically, to counter this play, you need to watch out for Lucario's Steadfast Ability. Okay, this ability helps him whenever Lucario gets into a low HP, and this is actually 50% and below. So once you hit 50%, below 50%, Lucario will be granted a shield and his movement speed is increased. Players might not know this. So for example, when you're scoring as Lucario, right, after you score, there will normally be an opposition player trying to attack you, and Lucario is probably running away. So in many scenarios, you'll see this Lucario running away, and so what happens is when he's running and when he gets basically lesser HP, right, a lower HP, he basically gets his Steadfast activated, and then a shield pops up, and then he runs faster. So that allows him to escape better in a way. Okay, so this is the reason why Lucario is so good at scoring and running away and scoring and running away. Most of the time, you'll see Lucario not only you won't see Lucario engaging you one-on-one very often. You'll basically see him score and then run, and then farm and score and then run. So that's basically his routine. Now let's talk about the moves. Okay, so let's talk about the first move set. Okay, quick attack. So quick attack is basically a simple dash where anything that it comes in contact with basically gets hit. So it's a 6-second cooldown, nothing much to explain about quick attack. Although this is the based on Lucario's 2 moves, this is the better secure move for quick attack. I think it does better than Meteor Mash. Meteor Mash basically has its damage reduced during one of the previous nerfs. So basically, when you're trying to secure farm, okay, so try to use quick attack. Let's take a look at Meteor Mash, right? So Meteor Mash basically is a pushing move. It can be used to basically shift enemies around, such that when you are running away from scoring, right, you push the enemies towards their own goal so that they cannot chase you, and then you quick attack away. So that's how sometimes Lucario runs away. It also is good. Okay, it's also a good secure if you know how low you need to get your farm to lah, basically. So whenever you're fighting, normally Lucario is in the top lane. If you are going to the bottom lane, it's also fine. Whenever you're fighting, let's say Ordino or Apom in your lane, try to get it to almost a negligible amount of HP, and then use Meteor Mash. That's the most secure way to secure farm with Meteor Mash lah. But in the end, I think quick attack is still the better move to farm. Okay, let's take a look at the first upgraded move set. Okay, so I'll go through extreme speed and bone rush together first. Alright, so let's take a look at extreme speed. Basically, extreme speed works when there are many enemies around. Okay, whenever Lucario performs extreme speed, there will be a blue light underneath every opponent. Okay, so basically, let's see if I have a video on that. Basically, the more opponents there are on the field, the better Lucario is at when using extreme speed, right? So let's see if we can pull up a video. Okay, so let's take a look at this first video, right? Okay, so here you see Lucario going into or me playing Lucario. Basically we are going into the, okay, let's slow this down to 50%. I'm going into the bottom lane, Vesper Queen, Combi, bees that spawn. Okay, so here there are actually 4 opponents. If you hit all of them correctly, you can basically reset your extreme speed because you hit a new Pokemon. Okay, so as the description here on the screen says, right, basically after it performs extreme speed, your extreme speed will reset as long as you hit a marked opponent, which is basically something new that you hit. Okay, whenever you use extreme speed, if you press your basic at the end, the extreme speed basic becomes a crit, or has a chance to crit. Okay, so a lot of people use this with Razor Claw. So whenever you use a basic after you use a move, Razor Claw allows it to slow the opponent down and increases the critical hit rate. What is critical hit basically is the chance to deal a little bit more damage than normal. Okay, so if you're using Razor Claw, your extreme speed is very effective. Okay, so let's take a look at this video. So here you see me use extreme speed again and again and again. So that's 4, and you see the 5th one, right? So let's take it back a bit. Alright, let's see it from here. So right here you see extreme speed. I'm basically targeting the middle Vesper Queen first, right? Then you see me, after I target, I press a basic, so you see Lucario spin, then go on to the second one. Okay, the trick of using extreme speed is to use extreme speed on a different player again and again. Don't use it on multiple things at the same time, because then if you use, let's say, on if you hit two different opponents using one extreme speed, your extreme speed only resets once and you cannot hit another thing again. Okay, so for example, here I hit the middle and I hit the side, the below one, the bottom one. Now if I hit more than one at the same time, I'll get one less chance of using extreme speed. Alright, so here is 2, here is the 3rd with the spin, and 4th, and then a 5th. So basically on 4 opponents you can use it 5 times. On let's say if you have someone else beside the bees, right, you can basically use it 6 times. So 6 extreme speeds is basically a lot more damage than actually 1 power-up punch, actually, if you have more opponents. This is where extreme speed outweighs power-up punch in terms of damage. But if you are doing it one-on-one, then obviously power-up punch exceeds the damage in terms of providing damage to enemies. Okay, so this is the only scenario where extreme speed out damages power-up punch in this case. Okay, so yeah, let's take a so let's go back to the move, right? So basically, after if you want to know let's say every what Pokemon has been damaged or not by extreme speed, basically look for the mark that is below the opponent, right? So yeah, same thing in this video here. Let me move it back a little bit. You can see the blue marks on the Vesper Queen and Combi. Those are the things that I haven't hit yet. Okay, so do be careful on what you hit. If you hit more than one thing at the same time, basically the cooldown only resets once. You need to hit multiple opponents again and again and again to get the reset. To get extreme speed to reset again and again. Okay, now let's talk about the moveset that goes along with extreme speed, which is actually Bone Rush. Now Bone Rush, what it does is basically it attacks your opponent right in front of you, and then it throws the bone. Throwing the bone allows you to shove your opponent into the correct direction. Basically, if you're throwing it forward, your opponent goes back towards the same direction. Now what Bone Rush does is it benefits by resetting extreme speed once. Okay, so you need to for Bone Rush, let me see if I can find a clip. Alright, let's see here, extreme speed, and then I think I use Bone Rush, and then extreme speed resets. Alright, so yeah, let's take a look at it again. Alright, here I'm attacking this Corphish, extreme speed. I do a few basics, and then Bone Rush, and then extreme speed gets reset. Now, it doesn't work when you have already used up the extreme speed's cooldown. That means if you use extreme speed once on this Corphish, and if you use it again, extreme speed will not appear on cooldown, just like this. Okay, but if you are using extreme speed, okay, once the mark disappears and your extreme speed is still fresh, you need to immediately use Bone Rush to reset it to get the mark. See, When once Bone Rush is being used, the Corphish again has the blue mark. So once you use Bone Rush, you need to activate. You can activate Extreme Speed again, just like as though you haven't used it at all on any marked opponent. Okay, so if you use it twice, let's say if you Extreme Speed one time and a second time on the same opponent, and if you use Bone Rush again, it will not reset your Extreme Speed. Okay, so the combo is basically Extreme Speed, Bone Rush, Extreme Speed, Extreme Speed. If you are doing one-on-one, if you are hitting multiple opponents, then obviously try to hit everything at this try to hit multiple opponents first with Extreme Speed. Then once you have run out of blue marks, throw your Bone Rush. It will reset the Extreme Speed on every single character. Okay, so that's for Extreme Speed and Bone Rush. Now let's talk about now let's talk about the Power Punch and Close Combat. Now this is my personal favorite build. Of course, I can play both, but this is my personal favorite build. Power Punch charges power before unleashing a powerful attack. Basically, what it means is, okay, let's see if I can get you a clip on Power Punch. Right, Power Punch. Alright, let's see if we can get a game. Alright, let's see here. Alright, let's see here. Basically, this is one of our team matches with XXZ. Right, this is my Meteor Mesh. Alright, so I think I'm going to do a Power Punch here. So basically what Power Punch does is, if you press and hold your button, okay, you can basically charge your Power Punch. Power Punch basically starts with, let's see if we do it. Alright, so okay, let's run it back a little bit. Okay, so Power Punch, what happens is, when you're charging it, there will be a bar, right? A bar just below Lucario. Now, once you need to wait for the bar to hit this purple or pink barrier before Power Punch is able to execute with its full range of movement. Okay, what I mean by full range is, if you see here, Lucario only moves a little bit. Now, it's not that far, but I think if you continue the clip, you get to see Power Punch in full, right? So I'm charging, right? This is where I'm charging, and I'm trying to hit. I think it was a Ninetales or a Crustle in the bush, right? You can see the orange color HP. So once it hits that bar and you release, it's more, the range increases, right? So let's see, so when you're charging, okay, let's see when you're charging. So it starts small, right? So you see it starts basically melee range, and then as you charge, it grows bigger. Okay, of course, the more you charge it, the more power it gets, and the maximum power is attained when you charge fully and then you release. Okay, so let's see. I get it to the pink, and then I shoot, and then it damages. So at level 5, Power Punch already takes about 1/3 of like an attacker's health. Okay, so this is a pretty dangerous move on a one-on-one basis. In a team fight, it might not be so good, but it's still effective when trying to KO opponents, when trying to take the last hits. Okay, yeah, so that's my Power Punch. And Power Punch actually resets a little bit faster than Extreme Speed. Talking about the reset, right? So Extreme Speed resets 9 seconds, but Power Punch resets 7 seconds. That's actually a lot. 2 seconds, it's so let's say within 3 Extreme Speeds resets, you can actually run around 4 Power Punch. Alright, if you have your second moveset to reset it. So yeah, that's Power Punch. It's basically good at securing let's say Dreadnought, Roram, or Zapdos in the last fight. However, this is the weakness of Power Punch. Power Punch only hits the first opponent. If you notice when we ran this video, right, there were actually 2 opponents in the bush, but only oh, it's a Ninetales. Only Ninetales got hit, and not Curlia, right? Yeah, that's the basically weakness of Power Punch. It only hits the person in front of you. Okay, so whenever you are fighting Lucario, okay, try to always be behind either a farm or let's say here you can see basically the Steadfast is activated. So when I get to HP less than half, right, I get a shield, and then my movement speed basically increases. But for Power Punch, basically if you hide behind an opponent, you basically have no way of getting hit by Power Punch. Okay, so that like what I think this whether it's intentional or not, the Curlia did, right? So Curlia, if you can actually tell in the video, see, Curlia was actually in front, like slightly in front of Ninetales, but it went behind. So once it goes behind, it can't get hit by the Power Punch. Okay, so that's something I think a smart opponent will do. So you can try and watch it again. See, okay, Ninetales and Curlia. Curlia is basically the last one that was there. If you notice at the bottom right of my screen. So but however the first person gets hit is Ninetales. Yeah, so basically Power Punch only hits one at a time. Okay, let's talk about close combat. Alright, close combat. Let's see close combat, and then after that I'll show you the Unite move. Okay, close combat, basically once you activate close combat, you'll be hitting multiple opponents with different number of punches, and while hitting you will restore some amount of your HP. So close combat works well with weakness policy. Okay, this is the item that I like to run when I run close combat and Power Punch. Weakness policy. If you get hit while doing close combat, you still get the stacks of weakness policy. However, you don't get hit. You don't lose HP basically, because when you're in close combat you are basically unstoppable, just like when you score using score shield. Nobody can damage you, which means that you are basically indestructible basically. Alright, so yeah, so this is one of the better moves. I feel it's better than Bone Rush, but however it's not likely that you'll use this with it's not likely that you'll use this with extreme speed, or it's not advised, I would say, because if you have extreme speed, the only good thing about extreme speed is to try and reset its cooldowns, and how to do that is by using Bone Rush. By using close combat, basically you have two different move sets that do not correspond with a combo. Okay, what is a combo is that one move resets the recharge time of another. However, when you use close combat, it resets Power Punch. Okay, so something maybe I forgot to mention. Power Punch resets whenever you use a second move. Let's see. There, this move cooldown reduced every time the user uses one of the user's move hits. So if you use Bone Rush, it resets Power Punch. If you use close combat, it resets Power Punch, as long as either moves hit. However, Bone Rush obviously is better to reset extreme speed, because Bone Rush gives you mobility. Once you throw a bone, you appear at the other bone's end. So extreme speed and Bone Rush is basically the more mobile moveset for Lucario. The more bulky moveset for Lucario is basically Power Punch and close combat, which is why these two go together, because once you do close combat, you are almost likely to KO or already KO an opposing Pokemon, and that gives you the chance to reset Power Punch to finish off the opponent totally. Okay, what do I mean by that? Let's see if we can find an instant where okay, let's see. Level 6, level 7. Alright, let's see, level 7. Alright. Here I'm doing close combat, and I think the Ninetales' health is low. Alright, I'm scoring. Alright, here I think you can see Duraludon. I don't know if I get taken out here. Oh, I do. Okay. Let's find a better example. Alright, for example here, let's see. Okay, this is one. Okay, this is the unite move. Later I'll explain more on it. So basically I united on Ninetales. I slow smoke, I close combat him, he's about to die, and then I power punch. Alright, so that's basically the Ninetales combo. Okay, we'll take a look at it again. Sorry, the Ninetales combo, the power punch and close combat combo. Right, so I'm facing two opponents. I basically choose one. Okay, slow smoke works best with close combat because you freeze the enemy in his spot and he has no chance of escaping your close combat. Okay, so that's how you unleash close combat and power punch at the same time. Alright, so you pick an opponent. Here I can pick Duraludon or Ninetales. I pick Ninetales. I slow smoke, he basically can't get out. I close combat him. His life is about to go down, and then I power punch. Now, the thing I forgot to add is power punch increases his damage once you use your unite move. Okay, after you use your unite move, the first power punch that you use will be increased damage. So for example here, close combat, when you're activating a power punch, you can basically see, it's pretty fast, right? You can basically see the power punch sort of like glowing differently. Let's see, close combat, and now. Okay, alright, so there's basically this aura around you when you use power punch, when you're holding the power punch to try and hit. So that basically means that you use your unite move and then power punch becomes increased damage. Alright, and then pump, you get a hit. Alright, so yeah, that's how you use close combat with power punch. You freeze the opponent in spot, you close combat, try to bring his life down very, very low, and then you smack your power punch towards him. Okay, so that's how you take out an opponent. Now let's talk about the unite move, right? Why is it so deadly? Now the unite move, the unite move is basically a big ball, right? It's not anything special, and you can actually get away from this unite move very quickly. However, alright, so yeah. However, using this unite move when your opponent is very, very close deals a lot of damage. Okay, so if you use it at point blank range, the unite move, and let's say you have 3 opponents in front of you, you can basically take their life down to less than half for every single one of them. And then you can execute either your close combat or extreme speed, follow up with your bone rush and power punch after that. Okay, so this unite move is basically works well with all your combos. My suggestion for Lucario's item build is that you always carry a body barrier. Lucario's weakness basically lies in its zero capacity to handle CC, which means crowd control. So anything like stun, sleep, it does not do well against all those things. So the best is to have a way to increase your life. Of course, Steadfast does it as well, but it only activates every minute, right? Besides close combat and besides extreme speed, the unite move with the body barrier is one of the ways that you can and you should help yourself increase your health, basically. Okay, so let's take a look at the item sets. So if I'm running a power punch and a close combat build, basically I like to run these 3 item sets. I'm not score focused, but I do score whenever there's a chance. Okay, so like whenever there's a chance, I try to score and stack the attack weight. Let me see if there's a, if this clip I do, I think I do in this clip. Just before I get KO'd, I think. Yeah, basically here we got Rotom, right? So basically we got Rotom here. Whenever there's a chance to score, just take it, and then and then just, oh, I didn't get to score. Wait, what? Okay, I didn't get to score on this chance, but did I score here? Yep, I did. Right, I did score here. Okay, so Alright, so sorry I had to take a call. Yeah, so whenever you have a chance to score, right, I do score, right, and then yeah, basically, oh, this is the power punch, right? Yep, so whenever I have a chance to score, I'll take the chance to score. Now, what is the benefit of using weakness policy and attack weight? Now let me explain. Attack weight basically stacks whenever you score a goal, right? Whether you score 1 ball or 2 ball or 30 balls, you still stack the attack weight. Weakness policy, however, increases your attack stat for a short time of let's see, a minimum of 3% whenever you receive damage. So if you're receiving damage, and especially Lucario is always receiving damage, right, you are basically stacking. So whenever I use weakness policy with attack weight, I'm stacking 2 items on Lucario. Yeah, the weakness policy stack will not last forever. However, as you enter a battle, you definitely will get hit either by a wild Pokemon or by an opposing Pokemon, and this allows you to stack the weakness policy and get a lot of damage. Okay, so what that has helped me to do is basically get huge amounts of damages. Let me see, yeah, like this. Okay, so in one of the matches where the opponent surrendered because we were too, overpowering, I can basically outmatch Duraludon in damage, right? Now this is about 77,000 damage. Okay, so I mean this Duraludon hasn't really made full use of its potential of his damage, so it's probably not playing properly, right? But yeah, the weakness policy is basically what helps me to get damages above 40,000 or 50,000. So let's see, there's another, yeah, I think this is one of them. Oh, it's okay, 49,000. Okay, 48,000. So I'm basically averaging about 50,000 if I'm not mistaken. 40,000. Let's see, yeah, 57,000, right? So it's hanging between 40 to 60,000 in my opinion. Yeah, okay, in some cases I do get it down to 30,000 because I mean if the rest of the team is doing good, then I don't really need to do that much damage, right? Yeah, so that is my Lucario build set for close combat and power punch. Now for let me use the right. This is the build set, right? So what you've seen basically is the solo top one. I call it the one punch build set. So this is basically whenever you are playing as a solo top, right? You're playing as a lone attacker in 1-1-3. Lucario basically excels in the top lane, right? I'll go more about that in detail later on. So basically what this does is it gives you double stacking items so that whenever you are getting hit by 2 or more opponents, your weakness policy stacks faster, up to about a maximum of 4 times, and then as well as your attack weight. Whenever you stack, when you score, it basically gives you so much damage such that you can rain your power punch and your close combat on opponents. And this build comes along with slow smoke, which is very good because it freezes your opponents in his place, so it's easier for you to aim your power punch and your close combat, right? So whenever you freeze your opponent, you close combat him or her, his life basically goes down to basically non-existent, and then you power punch him. Of course slow smoke also works well with the aura cannon, the unite move. So when you slow smoke, he's basically frozen, and then you aura cannon, he basically gets at least half of his life taken out, and then you can follow up with a boosted power punch. Okay, now the second build that I like to go with is what I call the 1000 extreme speeds build. Okay, this is basically a damage per second build where it deals a lot of damage as you play. Okay, so this replaces the weakness policy with score shield because I'm assuming that when you're doing extreme speed, you're not taking as much damage as you would because you're basically dashing through different opponents at different amounts of time. So you won't actually be facing multiple opponents like against you at the same time. You'll be running through opponents in the back line, and you will be dashing through them like one by one. Okay, so maybe let me find a video where I can show you how this 1000 extreme speeds work. Right, so let's see if we have a team fight. No, we don't have a team fight here. Let's see where we have a team fight. Alright, let's go to the Zapdos fight. I think I do team fight at Zapdos. Alright, here I'm going for a snake score, and then alright, here that's where I'm extreme speeding. So I unite move, let's see, extreme speed, bone rush to reset, extreme speed. Right, so basically you realize you're not actually engaging more than one opponent at the same time all the time. You're engaging different opponents again and again and again. So you weakness policy doesn't really work well on this build. Doesn't mean that it doesn't work at all, but it doesn't work as well. And you probably will want to have a bit of damage on this build. So that's why I would go with a score shield whenever doing extreme speed. Now the second option that you can go besides using score shield or body barrier is to replace it with a razor claw, so that whenever you extreme speed, you're doing a crit on every single opponent that you hit. Now I would recommend replacing body barrier because you need to stack your attack weight at the beginning. Okay, so whenever I'm doing a one punch build, I don't need to consecutively stack at the beginning, at the start of the game. Okay, because that's quite dangerous for some players, because if you keep stacking, the opponents will definitely target you more often than not, and you probably will you'll probably die very often if you keep stacking during the one punch build, I mean. So however, for any extreme speed build, you need to stack because your extreme speed damage is not a lot, and you need to be able to increase your damage such that whenever you do multiple extreme speeds, you are actually compensating for the damage of, let's say, the one punch build like power punch or close combat. So you need to stack very, very early, and this score shield basically helps you stack. If there are some people, however, that are comfortable with stacking without score shield, so for example they replace score shield with body barrier in the extreme scoring crit build, so body barrier, razor claw and attack weight, and that works as well, because it helps you in the late game. Whenever you have your unite move, you can basically sustain, and then you can extreme speed more and more. The last build is basically the solo queue one punch. This is where I would suggest you use this, because with the use of muscle band instead of weakness policy, you actually deal more damage to your opponents, because muscle band does 30% of the opponent's HP damage, right? So basically you deal more damage, which means that you can secure more farm with your basic attacks, which is what Lucario will be doing at the start of the game. And before you can even stack, you basically need to try to out-level your opponents. So muscle band instead of weakness policy is probably a better option whenever you're solo queuing. But it's also okay. I mean, it doesn't really this one punch build at the top, it also does work in solo queue, which is something that I've been using quite often in solo queue as well. Just that there are different benefits and different negative effects on when using the burst sustain build or the damage build. Okay, so if you're using weakness policy, you basically need to level up faster, which means that this actually excels in a 1-1-3 competitive formation, because Lucario basically has all the farm in the world at the top, so you can level quite fast. You can hit level 5 even before the first 850 Bs. What happens then is that when you do that, your weakness policy and attack weight is basically less dependent on your basics. You're basically using more of your combos, power punch, close combat, your aura cannon, and you basically rely less on your basics. However, when you're solo queuing, you basically need to farm with a teammate, right? Which means that you basically have maybe half the amount of farm that you have, so you reach level 5 even slower. Sometimes probably you even only be at level 3 whenever you're solo queuing. So level 3 before the first 850 Bs, before the jungler first ganks and all that. So it's preferable to use muscle band so that you can steal the opponent's farm and the contested farm easier with your basics and your quick attack. Okay, as you notice that most extreme speed builds, all the extreme speed builds use full heal. This is because you don't want to be stopped when using extreme speed. For example, when you have a slow roll that telekinesis you probably die if you don't have full heal when you use extreme speed. When you get CC'd like telekinesis, stunned by Pikachu's electro web, or if you get slowed by opposing slow smoke. So this full heal, basically once you activate full heal, it has a 30-second cooldown, which is quite fast compared to extreme speed. I think it's about 50 to 40 seconds. Full heal, once you activate it, you'll be unstoppable to crowd control for about 5 seconds, and that basically gives you a lot of time for you to unleash your extreme speed and bone rush combos. Yeah, so full heal basically helps extreme speed, and slow smoke actually helps close combat, and then the secondary moves come after that, right? So power punch comes with close combat, and bone rush goes with extreme speed. Okay, so this is the final part of the video where I'll teach you how to defend against Lucario's moves. Alright, so I'm basically going to be in a match with myself. This is my second account. Right, I'm going to be in a match with myself, and I'll show you how to avoid Lucario's moves, right? Right, so we'll basically be using Lucario against Lucario. Okay, so let's start by getting ourselves to level 5, right? And I'll get my second account to level 5 as well. Alright, let's get myself to level 5. Bear with me on this part. This is where so normally what I have to do to secure farm is wait until it's low, then you quick attack in, then you probably secure your farm then. Alright, I'll get myself to level 5, and then I'll show you how to firstly how to execute Lucario's moves, basically. Right, so the first two moves is basically non-existent, right? So let's try power punch. Now let's learn how to defend against power punch, right? So this is the XSZ Swift account. Alright, here you have I think 850 is up, the bees are spawning. So whenever you want to defend against power punch, right, you stand before basically right in front of an opponent. Alright, so let's see what that does, right, on this main account. So you see the bees are basically attacking Lucario, but if I try to direct the power punch here, he won't get hit. For example, you see he sustained no damage or 0 damage against it. Okay, so basically yeah, power punch, it does not do any damage to Lucario when you're behind a farm. So basically what you do is when you're doing power punch, right, when you are trying to defend against power punch, try to stand behind something else other than yourself. I mean, if you're solo queuing, stand behind your player, your teammate, or just like stand behind your opponent when you're sorry, not your opponent, stand behind a farm when you're doing power punch. Then in that case, it won't hit you as much. Okay, so let's try close combat. Now once you're sorry, let's take a look at power punch again, right? So when you're trying to hit with power punch, try to go around your opponent and then hit. So let's see, let's try to get myself to level 5 first. Alright, so this is the power punch. Okay, so when let's say your opponent is here and you are right here, right? You're trying to use power punch on your opponent. Don't release it. If you're trying to hit your opponent, don't release it until you are right in front of your opponent, right? So if let's say you're using power punch, alright, try to release, like get around your opponent before releasing it. Then you get hit. Alright. Give me a moment. This will be a short break. Alright, apologies for the delay. Let's go on to close combat, right? So basically, to combat close combat, you don't really have anything other than to escape. You have to escape close combat, because once you are locked in with close combat, right, basically anything around this area, right, I can hit. Alright, so there's basically no defense against close combat, because Lucario is basically like undefeatable when you're in close combat. For example, this distance, right? So as long as you have a Pokemon that can move out of the distance before he does his close combat, I think he will be able to escape. However, if you're in the range, you basically have no how do you say, no defense against close combat. Okay, so I think the best thing to do is just press full heal whenever you get slow smoked. That's what many players do nowadays. Now the way to counter the unite move, same thing as close combat, get away from it. So whenever Lucario is charging, there's actually a time before he charges, right? So that's how you counter the unite move. And same thing for power punch, stand behind something. So if you want to hit, for example, I'm trying to hit Rotom, right? But if you stand behind something like the A-Bomb, you'll be hitting the A-Bomb instead. Yeah, okay. So basically that's how to combat the first set of moves. Now I'll take you and show you how to combat extreme speed. Extreme speed is a little bit different, okay? So you need to stand very, very close to something else, so that Lucario does not have a way to reset his extreme speed. Okay, so for example, alright, let's get myself to level 5 again, and then we'll see. Alright, let's get myself to level 5. Right, I'll show you what I mean by the extreme speed. Okay, let's get Lucario to level 5 again. I'll use my second account this time. Okay, I'm level 5. Alright, let's go extreme speed. So now I'll bring my other character in. Alright, so the way to defend against extreme speed is to stand as close as possible to something else that Lucario is going to hit. So stand, let's say, very, very close. Alright, what will happen is when he's using extreme speed, right, you basically okay, if you use extreme speed in one line like this, right, oh, the line doesn't get reset. Okay, yeah, when you use extreme speed like this, basically I didn't do 5 extreme speeds. I think I only did 3. So what happens is that extreme speed doesn't reset when you do it more than once, right? More than one opponent. And then when you do it this, it doesn't reset, right? So yeah, that's how to defend. You stand next to extreme speed. There's basically no defense against Bone Rush because you don't really need to defend against Bone Rush. It does not do a lot of damage. However, of course, the only way is to run away or get out of the zone when you're using Bone Rush. Yeah, so this is how Bone Rush goes. Yeah, so you see it's not much damage, but it damages it gives you the chance to reset your extreme speed, basically. Okay, that's the end of the Lucario video. I hope you liked it. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions based on the Lucario moveset or how to play certain builds, do drop me a comment on the